Honourable members, we have quorum. The member for Middle Fly will lead us in prayer.
Prayer, Blooming Blood, this morning, and as we join into prayer, the prayer that you taught us, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power and glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Honourable members, I acknowledge the presence in the public gallery of the humanities students and their teachers from the Port Moresby National School of Excellence. On behalf of the National Parliament, I extend a warm welcome. Leader of Government Business.
Deputy Speaker, I ask leave of Parliament to move a motion without notice.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Sorry, honourable members, is leave granted? Make a motion.
Deputy Speaker, I move that some of our standing orders be suspended, as would prevent the Prime Minister presenting the Marape Rosa Government 7th Year Performance Report 2025.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to statute, I present a report of the Marape Rosso Pango Coalition Government 7th Year Performance 2025. Mr. Speaker, I now ask leave of Parliament to make a statement in connection with the report.
Is leave granted? Make your speech.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg your pardon. I thank you and the members of Parliament on both sides of the House for giving me the leave to make the statement in a Friday morning session. Obviously, what comes after a question without notice is grievances, and I know much of our grievances or question pertains to government performance, and I hope this 7-year performance report triggers in your mind further questions or appease in your mind many questions that you may have heard, or again allow you to or prompt you for grievances as you make your statement subsequent to my reading of my statement. But in the first instance, let me acknowledge especially our students from Port Moresby School of Excellence who are in attendance, one good school in our country, and I want to acknowledge the school administrators, principals, and the students. Thank you for being in attendance. We hope in time you yourself find a place in this sort of work and other work that will flow on. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, and honorable members of Parliament, and the people of Papua New Guinea, I rise today to deliver what is for our government a moment of deep reflection and profound gratitude. The 7th year performance report of the Marape Rosso government covering periods from 2019 to 2025. Before I do so, let me offer a word of thanks and appreciation to many people who have continued to remain resolute that we are a team that is here to do something, and I thank those who have faith in this combined leadership. Firstly, my own Pangu Party members who've been faithful since 2019, from the foundation team up till today. Secondly, to the coalition partners who've remained in constant support. Thirdly, to the Parliament. In fact, we may debate, but on matters we've opposed, but on common ground matters for our people, we have the maturity as Melanesian leaders to come together. So I thank members of Parliament. I also want to thank First Lady Rachel Marape, my 6 children, for putting up with the stress of being the person that is most scrutinized to date. I want to also thank my own people of Taripori. Despite their faithful mandate the last 7 years, I've given them lesser time than they deserve, and I want to register my great appreciation to my own people of Taripori. This is a whole of government performance review presented with full transparency to this Parliament, and through this Parliament to every woman, man, and child of our country. Our guiding framework has been the medium-term development plan 4, and our long-term national compass has always remained Somara's gift to our country, and that was Vision 2050 that I was privileged to be part of, to see Sepuku Temu and the theme mounted in 2010. These are not mere policy documents. They are architectural blueprints of new Papua New Guinea, a 200 billion kina economy, an educated and healthy and productive population, and a nation respected on world stage, and communities across our country where no one is left behind. Mr. Speaker, this report is prepared around the key government sectors. This includes infrastructure, economic, law and order, health, education, social and community development, and the administrative governance, including the achievements of our 21 provinces and Bougainville, our collective 96 districts. I shall address each in turn. It is offered at the succinct summary level, but gives all of us a reference point for your criticisms, for your debates, for your assistance, for you to know exactly what has happened. I've been in this Parliament for a long time, and a peer report of such, in my view, has never been presented outside of the annual reports. But we want to be transparent as much as possible, give every opportunity to our leaders on both sides of the House and to all our people to see what has been achieved, what we have not achieved, and what is still outstanding, and what are being progressed in all these sectors. I shall address each in turn, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Mr. Speaker, nation building begins with infrastructure. Roads, bridges, ports, airports, power, and connectivity are the arteries through which commerce flows, students travel to school, patients reach hospitals, and farmers and businessmen bring their produce to market. Our government's infrastructure record over 7 years is the most ambitious in Papua New Guinea's post-independence history. I will speak a little bit, Mr. Deputy Speaker, on Connect PNG from the outset. Our flagship Connect PNG program has been the centerpiece of our infrastructure ambitions. We have committed over 20 billion kina to road infrastructure that spans 16,580 kilometers of national road network. This program encompasses the rehabilitation and upgrading of national highways, provincial roads, rural access roads, and missing links across all regions of our country. The Highlands Highway, for instance, upgrades and rehabilitation work on critical Port Moresby to Lae Highlands corridor has progressed significantly, improving the supply chain for the Highlands agricultural sector and other economic sectors, reducing travel times for millions of Papua New Guineans who depend on this economic lifeline. And I want to place on record my appreciation of the last government who also invested in infrastructure. They started with phase 1 of Highlands Highway. We overlaid with phase 2 and additional contracts. And today, for instance, in Highlands Highway, you could now drive from Lae to Hagen on 2-lane roads and a road that is more improved than ever before. Very soon, Mr. Speaker, I'll be driving from Port Moresby across to Lae. It is not yet a super highway, but at least the connectivity is being made as we speak. Rural access roads, Mr. Speaker, feeder and district roads have been upgraded across all 21 provinces and Bougainville, connecting communities to markets, schools, health centers that was previously inaccessible. Just give you an example. A few days back, I was so pleased to see a road in Rumba. I went there in 2024. Rumba Road was not sealed today from Arawa into Rumba. A sealing taking place. I thank the regional member and the Bougainville government for picking up this road through the funds that we've supplied. I thank, for instance, the member for Middle Ramu. It warmed my heart to see. A few days ago, the mighty Jimmy River was crossed and the road from Roti Valley passing into Simbai is taking place as we speak. I thank the member for Karamui. I see road approaching Karamui, though it is still not yet there, but roads approaching Karamui as we speak. Last year, I had the pleasure of my life to drive across from from Tabubil to Telefomin. Those are indications of rural areas being uplifted out as we speak, whilst those have remained inaccessible for so long. It is better attempted now than never, and we are trying to give access to the mass of our people who live in rural communities across our country. The rehabilitation and commissioning of Wutung border posts is going to making sure, for instance, improved cross-border trade and security with Indonesia is stepped up. Mr. Speaker, for ports, airports, and marine infrastructure, we have invested in upgrading airports and ports that are critical to our trade, tourism, and logistics. Work have been completed and are also underway at major port facilities and provincial airstrips and airports, improving connectivity to the extractive sector, agriculture exports, and passenger movement. I want to register my appreciation to ADB, a very worthy partner in this sector, also the road sector, but in the airport sector, I want to thank the Australian government, a worthy partner in the port sector. Work is happening in many of these ports and airport sector today. If you go to Alatau, Guinea Airport, it will be my pleasure to open a new Guinea Airport terminal. Sometimes this year, there's a terminal happening in Arapa in Bougainville as we speak. There's a terminal happening in Kiunga as we speak. I want to inform the people of Medang and people of Enga province with our task civil aviation to pick up Medang and Wapnumanda at the very earliest. In most of our airports across our country, we have good infrastructures. This government will not claim all the claim for it. Work with KEDIP started in 2008. The O'Neill government never sabotaged the work. Work was progressed. And when we came in 2019, we're able to deliver on our commitments. And you look at Momote, you look at Keviang, you look at Wanamo, you look at Hagen. There were some issues at Hagen Airport. We outlaid some money again. Contractor defaulted. Contractor work was substandard. NAC reinvested again. We're fixing Hagen Airport runaway. We worked to my people in East Sepik. I thank your provincial government for investing some money in making sure airport is kept safe. We now did the groundbreaking. Airport extension will take place. We hope in time. We got good airports, good ports, and good road connectivity that should assist our people in the business, passenger, and of course the ambience of our modern economy. Mr. Speaker, I want to also speak on the energy and electricity accessibility. Expanding electricity access to our rural and peri-urban communities has been our priority under our electrification programs. We have pursued solar, hydro, and grid extension projects across the country, recognizing that power is the foundation of modern enterprise and quality of life. And I want to indicate this statement doesn't have, but our government invested over $1 billion. I thank the China Exim Bank. From Ley to Heights, we now have 132 kV line that runs from Ley to Heights. That should allow for power that is generated either in the eastern side, including Yonki, or power generated in the western side to supply to close to 5 to 6 billion people who will live within 20 kilometers on both sides of this major grid that is running from Ley to Como. It's a massive 1 billion kina program. Our own government invested. 132 kV line replaced the 66 kV line that we had pre-independence up till 2 years ago. Mr. Speaker, we also invested 110 million kina, if not 111 million kina, Minister Duma may correct me, on to upload 54 megawatts of power from Edevu to Port Moresby. That line is complete. Port Moresby is being assisted with 54 megawatts harvested from the Edewu hydro project. Mr. Speaker, in terms of digital connectivity and ICT, our investment in digital infrastructure continues. The submarine cables, the terrestrial fiber, and the mobile towers has expanded internet and mobile connectivity to communities across Papua New Guinea. This digital backbone supports our economic diversification and e-government services, financial inclusion, and educational platform. And the recent, and the recent licensing of Starlink will be transformational for our country. Mr. Speaker, in terms of housing, after nearly 3 decades without a comprehensive housing policy, our government launched the PNG National Housing Policy 2023 to 2033. This 10-year strategic framework guides affordable social housing, urbanization management, housing standards, and industry governance. The National Housing Corporation has progressed the NHC headquarters redevelopment, and they're also working on some programs, including 36 housing units currently under construction, targeting 100 completed homes by early 2026. The NHC Bill 2026 has been completed and is ready for submission to the FLC. Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, we have partnered with the Department of Lands and Physical Planning to facilitate further urban development leases and streamline access for housing development. The e-land system is being implemented and to digitalize all land title registration, and a national land audit is currently underway to establish a reliable baseline for future land policy. Mr. Speaker, I should add here, it is our intent, and I want to commend Deputy Prime Minister and the esteemed Lands Department. They've mobilized traditional land and empowered traditional landowners to be in business, like landowners of Central in Roku Village, who are now using their own land, leasing out to people who want land for house. I want to also say thank you, partnering other urban districts. We've created close to 10,000 allotments soon to be apportioned to many out there who needs house and land is an important foundation in which homes are built. That work is being is twinned between Lands Department and the National Housing Commission. To deal with these issues, we have reopened or reset the Office of Urbanization that will be handling this work. Mr. Speaker, in terms of other infrastructures, I want to indicate to the House, over 2019 to 2025 period, our government has allocated over 17 billion to infrastructure sector alone, of which 11.9 billion have been actually expended. The lower execution rate reflects the complexity of major project procurement, environmental assessments, and multi-year contracting timeliness. Capital project areas of approximately 2.6 billion and SME payment areas of 2.4 billion remain priorities for resolution under ongoing fiscal management reforms. But I want to say, in the last 7 years, over 11 billion kina, to be exact, as per the statement, 11.93 billion has been transferred to all infrastructure agencies in our country, and the infrastructures are happening as we speak. Mr. Speaker, in the economic sector, the story of our economic management is a story of Papua New Guinea finally asserting ownership over our own destiny. We came to office determined that our people should benefit equitably from immense natural wealth of our land and seas, and we have delivered on that determination, or we're starting to deliver on that determination. In the mining and petroleum sector, we focused on taking back greater control of our resources. And we saw what happened in Pogra as a case in point. One of the most consequential decisions of my government was a renegotiation of the Pogra Gold Mine Agreement. After the previous operating agreement expired in April 2020, we stood firm on behalf of our people, refusing to renew on terms that did not give Papua New Guinea its fair share. The result, Papua New Guinea now holds 51% equity stake in Pogra joint venture, a historic accession of resource sovereignty. The state's dividend from Pogra has reached over $400 million. That is what I mean by take back PNG. Pogra reopened under better terms. Papua New Guinea is employed. The nation is now majority owner of its own gold mine. Mr. Speaker, this is one of the success story of this government to date. We came with a firm resolve that when we renegotiate leases or we negotiate on projects that benefits our country, the total benefit package of the Papua New Guinea must surpass 50% of any resource harvested, and Pogra stands as testament to what can be achieved if resolve, determination, and focus is maintained by the national government. I want to update the House on Wafi-Golpu Copper Project, one important project that many of us has been discussing, and I thank the patience of the people on the ground. I thank the Morobe Provincial Government. I thank Bulolo District for your continuous patience and resolve as we work through this. Negotiations on the Wafi-Golpu and Copper Project in Morobe are progressing on terms that protect the interests of our landowners, local communities, and the national government, should add on the, as well as the investors. The project benefits of Papua New Guinea are estimated to be over 45 billion kina over the life of the mine. When developed, Wafi-Golpu will be one of the largest gold copper mines in the world and a transformative investment for our nation. Mr. Speaker, that is the reason why we are not in haste, and I want to advise all, because agreements like this or big mine like this are long term. Look at what's happening in Lihir. Lihir was agreement signed for long term in 1997. It's easy to try to ask for review, but all these covenants are bound by law and agreement. They run the length of time. So this government is not haste to rush to signing projects that we feel will not return a healthy return to our country. Our children who are watching us and their generation must live in a country that enjoys wealth from their own land in a fairer manner. And Wafi-Golpu is substantial. I want to indicate to this House through this statement, we have given the two investors a peer review team that compiled on the review between the work of S&T and the two investors. We reached some stalemate in terms of agreeing on what will be in the mine development contract and what will be the structure of the SML. And so the peer review team had went to work. The peer review team were led by Mr. Lupari, Mr. Anthony Sumare, and Mr. Atta Sumare, three strong Papua New Guineans who understand the discussions between balancing project interests and investor interests as well as local interests. Our peer review finding Cabinet endorsed has now gone to the hands of our investors. They're looking through it. We hope that at the very earliest they return something favorable. And I did indicate to the investors, we're not asking for anything more. The law says 30% equity. Give us 30% equity. Give us 2% royalty as the law agreed, if not the 3% we agreed upon, and the tax as the law agreed. So the fundamental basis of the agreement is simply respecting the law at present. We have not moved to the new regimes as yet. Mr. Speaker, we have other mining projects in the horizon. Subject to progressing properly, I want to inform the House that Frida copper project, we will process Frida with a sense of awareness to the impact on the environment, including the Sepik River, a river that my children will claim as theirs too. It will not be in haste, but with sensitivity to the environment. We also have Yandara mining. I want to indicate to this House, when we arrived as government in 2019, Mr. Deputy Speaker, Octari was to have closed in 2029. By God's grace, today Octari has proven up reserves and resources. Octari will go on till 2085, and we have renegotiating with the provincial government and landowners to give them a fair value on the table. I want to also indicate Tolukuma and 10 other mines are in different stages of the regulatory process, so substantial resource base we have. But to tick them off, we will make sure Wafi-Golpu is processed at the very earliest. I want to also swing to the LNG and oil and gas sector. Our LNG sector continues to be a major contributor to national revenue. The Oil and Gas Amendment Act 2025 and the National Petroleum Act 2025 passed in the first sitting of 2025 strengthens the governance and regulatory framework of our petroleum industry, ensuring that PNG receives its proper share of resources revenues and the sector is managed in a transparent and accountable manner. The LNG sector, in my view, is a sector that is currently contributing a little over 50% to our national budget support and economy, and I thank those who are investing in this sector, including ExxonMobil, Santos, Total, and others. I want to give an update to this House. It is not in my speech, but on the Papua LNG. The project partners, the JV partners led by Total, and I do appreciate Total and Mr. Puyane, and they're in discussion right now as to the structure of the joint venture. The structure of the joint venture is complete, then they will approach the state. And they've given us assurance that FID will be done this year. And I want to indicate to our country, this government has not stood in the way of FID since 2019. The agreement was reached in early April 2019. We, as a new government, have the benefit of reviewing what needs to be done. And that review was concluded. We respected the agreement in totality. The agreement has been on the table since 2019. I've made it absolute clarity to the investors that your PR time is running, PRL time is running. Get on with progressing the agreement, deliver us FID, and if there's anything state can do to assist, we are on standby to assist, but we will never compromise the earnings from state that was agreed in 2019. And so Papua is moving, but I want to also indicate, as we progress Papua, at the back end of Papua, Penang LNG will come. So we have effectively sequenced. Once Papua is constructed, then Penang LNG looks certain to come at the back end of Papua LNG. So that will give us about 10 years of construction. And Penang is a 4.4 TCF project. Papua LNG is a 6.6 TCF project. So we have about 11 TCF of proven resource in our country. Those will give us about 10 years of construction window for economy. And when Penang is moved, we hope that wildebeest, an exciting prospect in the east of Gulf, northeast of Gulf, is looked at. I want to also indicate a smaller project. And by the way, the Penang project is a Pangu-led government project. We have secured over 63% total benefit in the way we negotiated with ExxonMobil. That's a baseline. And I want to indicate a small project that is running later this year. FID will be announced. It's an oil project, the Pasca A project. And MRDC, on behalf of the MRDC partners, owns 50% of the Pasca project, and the original owner of the license, Twinja, owns the other 50%. So in the oil and gas sector, there's a possibility, a window of 10, 15, 20 years of construction and earnings from the LNG. Papua New Guinea is now seen as a safe investment destination. With respect to what's happening at the Hormuz and elsewhere, they realize that we have never failed exporting cargoes. Despite the noises and news out of the highlands of Papua New Guinea, Hela and Southern Highlands and elsewhere, Kurubu Terminal has been sending oil out since 1990, and PNG LNG, thanks to all of us, including our landowners at the plant site, have been supporting our project since 2014. So a renewed focus on PNG has re-emerged. I want to thank Total for sending a ship that has over $200 to $300 million worth of assets to be anchored off East and Central Province. The ship is now en route to us, and very soon exploration will happen at offshore in the Abau Electorate. We hope that also produces some exciting prospects for us. Stanley and Ketu Elevala in Western Province also have been asked to be progressed. So all in all, in totality, about 5 or 6 projects in the oil and gas sector are being managed and sequenced to give this country a concerted 10, 15, or 20 years of exploration, construction, and harvest in the petroleum sector. Mr. Speaker, I want to also speak. Life is not only about oil and gas and mining. Our government is predominantly focused on agriculture as a case in point. And the economy numbers of our country indicates that our focus on agriculture is not in vain. It is now bearing fruits. The last 4 years, for instance, Mr. Speaker, the agriculture sector of our economy, and you just ask central bank statistics. You look at central bank statistics and our banking statistics, and World Bank, IMF, and all who are in the accounting firms confirm. Last 4 years, we have posted about 4% growth in the non-mining and petroleum sector. And that affirms our view as we came in 2019, that we must diversify economy. Our economy must not just be reliant on 1 or 2 sectors. And we said, let's go back to our traditional base load. Agriculture is where 80% of our people are found in. They're currently in subsistence agriculture. We must migrate them to the cash element of the agriculture. That's why we've invested substantially, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Agriculture sector is right now anchored by oil palm. It has been a quite economic powerhouse. Oil palm export revenues reached 3 billion kina with cumulative export earnings in our time in office over 32 billion kina from our reports in the last 7 years. This sector employs hundreds of thousands of Papua New Guineans in New Britain and other growing regions. The proposed bill that is now in promulgation stage is trying to embrace this sector in a positive way without offending our investors but augmenting our national interest to making sure this sector is continually supported and becomes an anchor of our economy. In the coffee, cocoa, and copra sector, Mr. Deputy Speaker, we enacted the Coffee Industry Act 2025. We're modernizing the legislative framework for our premium coffee sector. Our cocoa, copra, and rubber industries have benefited from sustained policy support, with government committed to moving up the value chain and processing more of our agricultural commodities within PNG before export. This work is going on, Mr. Speaker. One of the earliest work I did, for instance, is to allow for a 300 million kina European Union program to go to the CIPIC provinces, and Governor Bed can attest to the success of this program. East CIPIC has now emerged as a major cacao producing province, and those sort of programs need to be domesticated by provincial governments right across our country. I want to register my appreciation to East and West New Britain. They are two leading provinces in the agriculture space, and the rest of us provinces could see in the models that East and West New Britain continues to portray. They don't talk much, but their work with the agriculture sector is bearing result. And I want our country to see that in agriculture lies future security of our people. People own land. People already are traditionally agriculturists, and if we correctly fine-tune this sector will underpin our country in terms of employment, economic engagements going forward forever into the future. None can be more evident than when COVID-19 emerged upon us. Circumstances that happen outside does have an effect on our economy. For instance, in 2019, COVID pandemic fell on us. And I want to indicate in 2019, when we came into office, after inheriting a very difficult fiscal position, we had to navigate global economic disruptions like what COVID-19 caused. International commodity price volatility, inflationary pressures. Our fiscal consolidation program that was supported by IMF, and let me thank IMF, who we invited in to look at how we were doing. IMF never forced their way in. I want to make this statement without fear or favor. We accused the opposition for squandering the economic wealth in the last administration. We said the 2018 numbers pointed to recession. We came in, it was tough. We need to reconstruct the economy. We need to offset heavy domestic borrowing that was expensive, and other source of budget support that was expensive, with cheaper concessional borrowing in a sustained manner. And we invited IMF in, 7 years on, over 3.8 billion kina of concessional financing. Much of them went towards refinancing heavier loans that was borrowed earlier, and also supporting our annual budgets going forward. And that stabilized the macroeconomic environment. Mr. Speaker, I want to indicate to all of you, just look at the economic numbers. They don't lie. Look at final budget outcome of 2018, final budget outcome of 2017, look at final budget outcomes of 2019, and look at final budget outcomes of 2024-2025. That shows the trajectory of how we've come. Actual quantum in revenues and expenditures, those numbers are in those budget statements that Treasury's release, all in the economy space. Look at these numbers. They are from these numbers. From 2019 to 2025, tough economic scenarios globally as well as locally, but we were able to stabilize the ship. This year, we're operating a 30 billion kina budget. In 2018, the budget was under 15 billion kina. Treasurer will confirm through FBO, he will release later, what was the actual budget spent last year. In my view, Treasurer would pronounce a number anywhere between 26 to 27 billion kina. So this shows a growth taking place in the economy. In tough times, we try to manage. This year, with a deficit at 1.1% negative, from a high deficit of 8.9% negative in 2020, Treasurer announced a few years back that we will stick to a budget repair program. We gave a 13-year focus. I remember 4 years ago when he made that pronouncement, he said by 2027 we will hit a balanced budget. Mr. Speaker, without consideration to what is happening externally, this country is tense to come back to a balanced budget in 2027. The last time our country saw a balanced budget was 2010 under Sumare government. Mr. Speaker, those were tough times. From 2019 to 2025 period, total government expenditure stood at 5.3 billion in the economic sector, 11.93 billion in the infrastructure sector, 20.2 billion in the social service sector, 11.8 billion in the law and order sector, and the administrative sector took up 39.36 billion. The provincial and sub-national government programs took up 23 billion. Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, my job is to report on the summary quantum. If you have a question, then ask the sectors who receive this money, including districts, provinces, departments. Myself and Treasurer's job is to find the money and funnel it out through the systems of government. That's why to help the country settle on the questions you're asking, where has this money translated to? We're presenting this report at a summary level, and I expect ministers to also give their own speech, respectively, like the Works and Infrastructure Minister did yesterday, or other ministers may do today, or even at a later time. Reporting back to the country on how much money we raised and spent is proper, and it's transparent for any government to do, and we're just doing this headline reporting, and the sectors will follow through, reporting on funds they've received and they spent. And Mr. Deputy Speaker, in case they don't report, we've now set up National Monitoring and Coordinating Authority to follow the KINA trail, to making sure every KINA is spent according to what we intended for. Mr. Speaker, we have also serviced debt over the same period, especially refinancing heavier domestic borrowings, the Treasury bills and in-tribe stocks. The total quantum stock the Treasury in the last 7 years have sort of refinanced and looked into amounts to 125 billion KINA program of reservicing, refinancing, repositioning for us to go forward into the future. It reflects the weight of national debt portfolios we've carried. But the good news, Mr. Speaker, is that fiscal repair remains a priority of this government, and we very much focus on making sure that we grow the revenue and repay or pay down the debt, as well as make our economy sustained. And some of the work that we've done, Mr. Speaker, includes the new Income Tax Act 2025, the Tax Administration Act, and to modernize the tax framework and strengthen compliance. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I want to indicate when I talk about tax, Papua New Guineans must know this government has not increased any tax since 2019. In fact, to the contrary, we removed tax off from over 200,000 Papua New Guineans who earn below 20,000 kina. Today, they don't pay personal income tax. We've removed GST from 13 essential household items. We've removed stamp duty from houses purchased, first-time home buyers who purchase house under 750,000. And now we're giving the highest ever fuel relief ever. Today, the price of fuel in PNG is amongst the lowest in our region. Only Indonesia beats our price of fuel at the buses. But you know what? Guess what, Mr. Speaker? Indonesia is financing its fuel from debt. We're not financing our fuel from debt. We're getting from our revenues and prioritizing expenditures and financing our fuel relief to ride out 2026 to making sure our people are less burdened and we adjust to living with the new global fuel price environment in 2027 and go beyond this. Mr. Speaker, the migration of integrated financial management system to a cloud-based platform was completed in May 2025. That improves on fiscal transparency, system stability, and data security across government. This system now gives us ability to see possible misuse in the spend of government money. We're also implementing a Treasury single account framework to consolidate government bank accounts, strengthen cash management, and reduce opportunities for financial mismanagement. Mr. Speaker, on the trade and investment sector and diplomacy, I want to announce to this House our foreign policy as friends to all and enemies to none has expanded PNG's international partnership and attracted new investment. We have signed bilateral agreements, deepened ties with ASEAN and Pacific Island Forum partners and major economies including Australia, China, United States, France, Japan, Indonesia. The Special Economic Zone framework is being developed in collaboration with Department of Lands and Fiscal Planning to attract foreign direct investment into manufacturing and processed industries, I beg your pardon. The financial and banking sector, Mr. Speaker, the Central Bank Amendment Act 2025 strengthens the Bank of Papua New Guinea's regulatory framework. The establishment of the Financial Analysis and Supervision Unit, FASU, within Central Bank, has enhanced anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing oversight, and the agency generated non-tax revenues exceeded. For instance, through this, the non-tax revenue exceeded 1 billion kina in 2025, and we are digitalizing revenue collection systems to improve transparency and compliance. These were tasks not done. We now have IRC, Customs, we're digitalizing revenue collections to making sure that collections is on time, quicker, faster, and a lot of transparency is built into this space. Mr. Speaker, I want to indicate it is not in my speech, but on the grey listing. Yesterday, myself, Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable John Rosso, Police Minister, the Honorable Sep Pundari, and the Speaker of the House, the Honorable Joe Pomat, we were in a meeting, and a team from PATAF, especially from the Asia Pacific Group, came in. They commented our response as a whole of government to the grey listing work, but we gave them a fullest assurance that we will give everything we have to give to support us getting out of grey list, but not just to get out of grey list, but making sure that our economy is resilient and as a buffer against money laundering. And they accepted our recommendations, including my pointer to them that we have three types of economy in our country: the formal economy, the informal economy, and the traditional economy. PNG characteristics is a little bit different from other economies, being these three economies are working in tandem, and we will work with the PATAF to making sure that our response to grey listing is attended to, and we'll work to get out at the very earliest. Mr. Deputy Speaker, work on the economy and financial system are all redundant without peace and security. So I move to the law and order sector. Peace and security are prerequisites for development. A mother cannot send a child to school, a farmer cannot take a produce to market, a business cannot invest if they fear for their safety. Our government has made law and order a foundational investment and not an afterthought. Law and order sector expenditure over 2019 to 2025 reached 11.8 billion, with a sector budget execution of 97%. And I repeat, law and order sector expenditure over 2019 to 2025 reached 11.8 billion, with a sector budget execution over 97%, the highest of any sector, demonstrating our unwavering commitment to security and justice. So it is not lack of commitment on our part, but those agencies who are supposed to be working, whether it's police, or correctional service, or ministerial services, or the judiciary, we've given them unprecedented support. I can understand that even that is still limited by the operational mandate, but putting to good use the fund that comes to them is also incumbent on them. Mr. Speaker, in terms of the Royal Papua New Constabulary, under the Security and Police Administration Program 2023 to 25, we have invested 542 million kina into the modernization of Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary. This investment funded the upgrade and construction of over 50 police stations across the country, bringing policing facilities close to the communities that has never previously had a local police presence. Police force numbers have been increased, professional standards strengthened. The Bomana School of Excellence developed as a center for advance in police training. We are also reviewing now the Police Act to modernize the legal framework governing our constabulary, to a modernized fine and fee collection system, to improve operational funding. Mr. Speaker, some of you may have seen me witnessing the pass out. Over 300 policemen and women passed out recently. It is our aim to make sure our policemen and women are properly trained, and we want to reach a 10,000 man police force at the very earliest. Training has recommenced. I thank the Australian government for also their support in the Bomana School of Excellence for our police. It is not just for us, but we also embrace other Pacific Island police to be also trained there. In the courts and judiciary, Mr. Deputy Speaker, Waikani Law Courts was officially opened at the cost of $653 million, a landmark investment in our justice infrastructure. I want to thank the O'Neill PNC government. They started the project. They invested around 200 million kina. When we came on, we completed with a balance, and we now have a modern state-of-art Supreme Court and National Court sitting. The National Court has recorded the last 7 years, 12,690 new cases filings, reflecting both on the growing demand for formal justice and improved access. Magistrate services and village courts have been strengthened to improve dispute resolutions right across our country. All of you by now should know village court magistrates for the first time are now brought under payroll, and they are paid as we speak to adjudicate disputes in the villages, village court sittings right across our country. The National Judicial and Legal Services have been strengthened, and we have delivered the appropriation, the Judicial Service Act 2026, to provide a sustainable funding for an independent and effective judiciary. Mr. Speaker, on anti-corruption, to combat corruption is a personal and government priority for us. Papua New Guinea was the first Pacific country to ratify the United Nations Convention Against Corruption in 2007. And we have prosecuted this commitment relentlessly. Our National Anti-Corruption Strategy 2010 to 2030 talks about this, and it is now in its second plan of action, structured around 15 programs of work. Major institutional achievements include the enactment of the Proceeds of Crime Act, Extraction Act, and Whistleblowers Act 2020. The Independent Commission Against Corruption, ICAC, was established under the Organic Law on ICAC in 2020, with ICAC Oversight Committee members formally appointed in 2025, and FASU has identified 3,000 suspicious transactions and referred them to relevant agencies for investigation. The AERO initiative, bringing together the Office of Public Prosecutor, FASU, Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary, and ICAC, is conducting coordinated asset recovery operations, supported by a dedicated trust account for recovered proceeds of crime. Mr. Speaker, what I mean is, for the first time now, there's a team working. If a public servant or a leader or someone in the private sector have taken money through illegal means, then we now have ability to recoup this and put this money into a public trust that is for our country. PNG signed the UNCAC Coalition Transparency Pledge, committing to stronger transparency and our civil society engagement in anti-corruption efforts. Corruption risk assessments have been conducted in 6 provincial administrators and 16 national agencies as we speak. Mr. Speaker, on the correctional services, our correctional service has focused on rehabilitation, not merely punishment. Prison infrastructure has been modernized and is expanding. We are establishing juvenile rehabilitation centers to address youth offending through education and behavioral reform rather than incarceration. Prison industry programs are being developed to provide detainees with vocational skills for reintegration into productive society upon release. Mr. Speaker, on maritime sovereignty and transnational crime, the Oceans Policy 2020 to 2030, which was approved by NEC in 2019, and the National Oceans Office established, and it established the National Ocean Office rather. PNG signed the Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction treaty in June 2025, and I thank all members of Parliament who were here yesterday for voting for the ratification. We are advancing our international ocean governance commitment. We are pursuing accession to UN Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime, and we have already criminalized the core offenses of money laundering, corruption, and obstruction of justice. Mr. Speaker, in the defense sector, Papua New Guinea has undergone forced rehabilitation. My notes here says improved discipline. I'll have to check my notes again for those who wrote. We are expanding bilateral defense agreement with Australia, New Zealand, China, Japan, Indonesia, India, United Kingdom, and through UN peacekeeping operations. The Pukuk Treaty with Australia was signed as part of a bilateral defense relationship that is expected to uptake over 10,000 Papuans to be enlisted in the Australian Defence Force. We also have the DCA with USA as I speak. In the health sector, Mr. Speaker, a healthy population is a productive population. Health is not a cost. It is an investment in human capital, in national resilience, and in the future of Papua New Guinea. Our government has expanded health infrastructure, modernized procurement system, and is increasing investment in preventive care, even as we navigate a complex and growing disease burden. Mr. Deputy Speaker, in the health sector, we have invested substantially in health facility construction and rehabilitation across all our 21 provinces and our Bougainville region. New district hospitals, rural health centers, and aid posts have been established in communities previously underserved by formal health services, though I must admit much more work still remains. Medical services, ambulance, and essentials have been procured and distributed to facilities across the country. And for those who have not yet been visited by assistants, I want to give you all full assurance it's part of the greater ambit and a radar of the National Health Department. And I ask all districts and provinces to work under your PHAs, making sure your issues are heard by the national government through the health department. Mr. Speaker, on disease burden, TB, HIV, and malaria, Papua New Guinea continues to confront a complex disease burden. In 2024, tuberculosis cases were estimated at approximately 46,000 nationwide, resulting in approximately 3,400 deaths, making TB one of the leading causes of preventable mortality in our country. And Mr. Speaker, I stand here wearing a Fight Against TB badge. I want to ask all of us who work, TB has more potent for causing death than any other disease. It's respiratory related. In our work, as we go close to people, relate to them. If they are infected with TB, you can contract TB. I'm ashamed to say in 2015 I did contract a TB through my work, and so you are not immune from this. And I want to pledge my lobby for the fight against TB. Each district, each province, as we work, let's work with our PHAs to make fight against TB and all the preventable diseases our fight. We are scaling up on TB treatment programs, strengthening HIV prevention and anti-travel therapy access, investing in malaria vector control and treatment. These diseases are preventable and treatable, and our government is committed to reducing their burden on our communities. Mr. Speaker, on maternal health and child health, skilled birth attendance currently stands at 42%. I repeat, right across our country, births that take place, only 42% is assisted with skilled and qualified attendants giving birth, or midwives giving birth to our children, meaning that majority of births in Papua New Guinea still occur without trained medical supervision. The maternal mortality ratio remains high in approximately 171 deaths per 1,000 live births. Immunization coverage continues to fall below national targets. We are investing aggressively to change these numbers. Funding for vaccines has increased dramatically from 3.4 million in 2024 to 26.6 million in 2026. In 2026, we have introduced the human papillomavirus vaccine for the first time in Papua New Guinea, marking a major milestone in preventing cervical cancer and improving women's health outcomes. Immunization programs, community health worker deployment, and maternal health services are being expanded across all our provinces. And I do ask all leaders here to deploy some of your resources in the districts and provinces to support maternal and child health care. In the non-communicable disease, cardiovascular diseases, approximately 10% of disease burden in our country right now. And if you think investing in specialist care is not important, I want you all to listen to this one, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Non-communicable diseases, or simply put in layman's terms, the lifestyle-related disease. You have cardiovascular disease, that is heart. Approximately 10% of disease burden load in our health system right now. You have diabetics, approximately 10% of workload in our health system right now. Cancer, about 11%. And injuries, whether caused by alcohol-related injuries or violence, etc., represents around 11%. This represents a growing public health challenge driven by urbanization, changing lifestyles, tobacco use, alcohol consumption, and unhealthy diets. Treatment costs for NCDs are increasing rapidly. That's why we're investing in also prevention and health education and community awareness. But more importantly, we're also investing in Port Moresby Specialist Health, our country's level 7 hospital. It was my pleasure to witness the first ever kidney transplant in our country last year. It was my pleasure to see angiogram patients going through getting stenting in Port Moresby specialist care. So our investment in the specialist care is running because substantial population now, close to 40% of our country now, are exposure to health services. The burden required is for those lifestyle-related disease, and specialist care is worth the investment. Mr. Speaker, over 200 million kina is also being invested in cancer facility in Port Moresby General Hospital. Very soon we should complete this state-of-the-art cancer facility. No more will Papua New Guineans go overseas in pursuit of specialist care. We should have them in Port Moresby General Hospital. Mr. Deputy Speaker, mental health has remained neglected for so long. Our government is strengthening mental health services, increasing access to counseling and psychiatric care, embedding mental health with our primary health care framework. On health governance and legislation, Mr. Deputy Speaker, we're modernizing the legal framework, governing a health system. Modernizing the legal framework governing our health system is essential. Legislative reforms are progressing to strengthen institutional clarity, enhance regulatory enforcement, and improve accountability within the health sector. Updated health legislation will provide stronger regulatory authority for health institutions, enhance compliance with public health standards, and support improved management of health investments. The social services sector, which includes health, education, and social programs, achieved approximately 92% budget execution of all the revised budgets we've had to date, reaching 20.2 billion kina over the last 7 years that we've been in government. Mr. Speaker, in the education sector, education, in my view, is the most powerful investment this government or any government can make. It is the multiplier of all other development interventions. An educated child is a healthy adult, a more productive worker, a more engaged citizen, and a stronger foundation for national development. Our government's investment in education represents one of our proudest achievements. The government's free education program has been the cornerstone of our education commitment. Under government free education program, we have enrolled 2.567 thousand and 713 students across our country in subsidizing schooling, with a total disbursements of 877 million in last year, for instance. And I want to say annual education subsidy expenditure under the government tuition fee subsidy component has increased steadily from 602 million in 2019 to a 1.01 billion in 2025, reflecting a year-on-year increase in commitment to free education. Total free education spending in the review period has reached 4.6 billion kina the last 7 years. So the last 7 years we've spent 4.6 billion kina. Parents across our country are not expected to pay a project fee or school fees. So I want to speak to the parents across our country who are listening in. If you're not paying school fees, if you're not paying project fees, what is your job? The last 7 years, you have saved 4.6 billion kina. Collectively, you have saved 4.6 billion kina. And so to all the parents who are listening in, if government, suppose government paying school fee, or picking below you, work below you and one and work. And I want to ask, and I reflect to my own mother. My mother walked me from a village 6 kilometers away from my first primary school in Oxamin Primary School in 78, I beg your pardon. The mother walked me every morning until I was strong enough to complete my first year of education. 6 to 7 kilometers every morning she walked Oxamin Primary School, and every afternoon she picked me to get me back home. To all parents listening in, if your government is paying you free education, I thank all faithful parents. Faithful parents, well, look at them picking me, thank him, Yupla. But to our unfaithful parents, James Marabe Tokilo Karen Pigini, you Karen Pigini or Nogat? All Taris are talking me. Nogat, Mibla Karen will voters play you, and Mr. Dam Gaman. You Sigara Blokaram na Karen, well, me, government paying school fee now, work play you. In the family tables every evening, Papa and Mama sit down holding Pigini. Because not only at the lower education, we're now running school fees all the way to the higher education. So I appeal to all parents across our country. Government paying school fee alone is not good enough. At the home, you anchor your child because your child is your investment for yourselves. As the child grows up into the future, government can only assist as much, but character embedment, steering for the child to be fully equipped as an adult, much of the work depends on parents at home. I appeal to parents as I speak this 7th year report. We have paid free education school fee, but you must compliment government by making sure your children is properly at home. Your children is not attending to Facebook or WhatsApps or electric gadgets. If you control your children at home, with government's help, your own help, together we could prosper our country by giving good education to our children. I want to say, this government has put in place a clear 11 billion kina roadmap for the next 10 years. If we come back in 2027, then we'll pursue this. But if another team comes into office in 2027, we'll offer advice to quality interventions in the education sector. This 11 billion kina is intended to making sure WAS facilities. So you got place for good bathroom, all schools limit. So picking girl, na picking man, they enjoy their life in the schools right across our country. Next 10 years, we want to invest in better school environment, including teacher houses and all the resource materials for our children who are progressing in a good learning environment. And they, in my view, is our greatest investment in the future of our country. I want to say in 2023, we introduced the Higher Education Loan Program to extend government support to parents. And this one was meant to assist the university students and college students. In that assistance program, over 53,958 students have been supported through subsidized education loans, with total disbursements to date in the 4 years since this program came in 2023. We've helped and disbursed a total of 284.7 million kina, and we've helped 53,958 students. And it warms my heart to pass through the streets of Port Moresby whenever I'm out in and about in society, and to see a young fellow who comes up to me and said, Mr. Prime Minister, I picked up 10,000 from HELP last year, and I'm completing my studies. I picked up 5,000 from HELP last year, and I'm completing my studies. I remember one single mother from Chimbu that lives in Kimbe. She wrote to me and said, Prime Minister, I'm a single mother. My son picked over 30,000 kina in 3 years, complete University of Technology. So, for those of you who come from good background, you may be okay, but this is a program we set to help the small people. Help ensures that the bright Papua New Guineans from remotest corners of our country are given fair opportunity. Mr. Speaker, on technical and vocational program, we also investing. Much more work remains, but we're investing also in this space. I also speak to education infrastructures. In the interest of time, I will skim through them and speak on them. I want you to see investments in education infrastructure. We want to ramp them up, but I ask all districts and provinces assist in investing in this space. In all districts and provinces, the last 7 years, we have equally given substantial resources. 20% of all resources that has come to districts and provinces is meant for investment in the education sector. And Mr. Speaker, I am emotional in the education sector simply because I will not be where I am without proper education. To my children who are sitting at the public galleries, we have a program that covers the best of our Papua New Guinean kids. Right now, over 500 students are studying in USA, in China, in India, through scholarships deployed to the best of our kids. And to my children who are sitting up there, you can be amongst that. But if you miss out the cut, don't get discouraged. Find your way around. We should have programs that should cover all of you. Teacher development, Mr. Deputy Speaker, teachers are the backbone of our education system. Our government has addressed teacher salary areas, invested in teacher training. Sometimes early next month, I'll be opening a 7-story building that will seat 5,000 people in an auditorium. Our government has invested over 130 million kina in the University of Goroka. This indicates our focus on training teachers to making sure they teach and they serve our students in urban and rural areas of our country. Mr. Speaker, on the National Youth Engagement Strategy, recognizing that 42% of Papua New Guinean population of 10 million plus people are below the age of 18. I repeat, 42% of Papua New Guineans are under the age of 18. Our government has backed the National Youth Engagement Strategy 2025 to 2029 with a commitment of over 100 million kina to try to make sure that we keep in touch with these youths and we don't let them go off rail. The Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Youth and Children was established in May 2025 to provide sustainable parliamentary oversight on youth policy. The Pacific Australia Labour Mobility Scheme was established to enable, and today as I speak, over 3,000 Papua New Guineans are accessing work in Australia and some are in New Zealand. We want to expand this. So potential for big employment opportunity in Australia is there. I ask all of you to work with the Labour Mobility Office that Treasurer currently heads at the moment. Mr. Speaker, in the social and community development sector, economic growth and infrastructure sector are means to an end. The end is the well-being and dignity of our people. The social and community development sector covers the breadth of our government's investment in human well-being, gender equality, child protection, community empowerment, and cultural identity, church partnerships, sports, labor standards, and disaster preparedness. Mr. Speaker, on gender equality and women's empowerment, our government enacted the PNG Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Policy 2025 to 2035, providing a decade-long strategic framework for advancing women's rights, economic participation, and political representation. 1.5 million was disbursed in 2025 to gender-based focused civil organization societies civil society organizations, I beg your pardon. The National Safe House Baseline Report was launched on 4 July 2025. We have established 56 safe houses across 17 provinces, providing refuge and support to survivors of gender-based violence. Curbing gender-based violence and socially accusation-related violence remains one of our most urgent social priorities. Our nationwide multi-stakeholder campaign involving government agencies, churches, and civil society and development partners is underway as we speak. The UNFPA's awareness and training program has reached over 7,000 people with practical skills to address GBV and socially accusation-related violence. The Church Partnership Program remains one of the most effective mechanisms for delivering services to remote communities. Our government has disbursed over 10 million kina under this program in review period, convened 2 Church Development Council meetings, and allocated 5 million for Jubilee campaigns, along 20 million in annual support for church-led service delivery across health, education, and community development. Mr. Speaker, I should say we've now brought in the church health sector into government payrolls, and we empowering the churches and their partnership in that space. The National Office for Family and Child Support Service has been strengthened governance and service delivery systems for child protection. Key milestone includes the establishment of National Child and Family Service Council, formation of governance committees, and rollout of the Child Protection Information Management System. Child and Family Service Councils have been established in Morobe and Enga provinces with planned expansion to the rest of the provinces, and I ask all you governors to embrace this program. The Lugatin Pikini Act 2015 continues to be implemented, providing legal protection for children. The National Disability Service Act 2025 has been enacted, and the national policy on disability adopted to protect the rights of persons with disability. In the sports sector, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sport is central to Papua New Guinea's national identity and social cohesion. Our government has backed the Mighty Chiefs NRL franchise with 100 million kina annually over 5 years to be reimbursed by the Australian partnership with the Australian government. A transformative investment that will see Papua New Guinea competing at the highest level of rugby league and inspiring a generation of young Papua New Guineans. And Mr. Deputy Speaker, I should say, we also asking other sports, rugby union, soccer, basketball, to also get engaged where we could mobilize the sports fraternity to get engaged in international sports, then we're willing to give support in that space. Labor standards and minimum wage. After more than a decade without review, our government delivered the National Minimum Wage Board review, increasing the hourly minimum wage from 3 kina 50 to 5 kina, effective 1st January 2026. This determination, the result of 4.5 million invested in comprehensive provincial regional consultations, is a direct response to the calls of workers, business, and the broader community for a living wage. In 2025, 352 labor inspections were conducted and 1,855 complaints registered, of which 539 cases were settled. A total of 186 trade licenses, 248 inflammable liquid licenses, and 152 explosive licenses were issued, generating 6.3 million in revenue against 4.67 million projection from that sector. Mr. Speaker, in disaster management and preparedness, the National Disaster Center has strengthened national and sub-national preparedness under the Disaster Management Act 1984 with the support from International Organization in Migration. Our Provincial Disaster Committee capacity assessment has commenced across all our 21 provinces and Bougainville, and we have improved high-level coordination, enhanced response capabilities, and maintained operational discipline in the face of natural disasters that has tested communities across our country. Mr. Deputy Speaker, in cultural preservation, the Sumare Memorial Museum is near completion, or work is being progressed. A monument to our founding father and history and the history of our nation. We are preserving Papua New Guinea's extraordinary cultural heritage of our 800 languages, our arts, our traditions, as a source of national pride a resource for tourism and international engagement. Mr. Speaker, I should say in my last visit to France, I was totally surprised when our better paradise was perceived with high esteemed value by many other nations apart from us. I just give you an example. There's a space in the museum that talks about the Tibetan king will not get coronation unless a better paradise is placed in his crown. And I was surprised. We have over 200 museums worldwide that has PNG collections, and we're working to make sure there's a link between our museums, those museums and our National Museum here in PNG. Mr. Speaker, on provinces and districts delivering to the grassroots, national policy means nothing unless it reaches every ward, every village, and every household across Papua New Guinea. We have 21 provinces and a special region of Bougainville and our 96 districts. Our government has invested unprecedented resources in sub-national government development, accompanied by significant institutional reforms to improve accountability, reduce leakages, and ensure that development funds translate into real improvements in the community. Mr. Speaker, since 2019, capital investment funding through service improvement programs comprise district service improvement programs and provincial service improvement programs and local level government service improvement programs. These provide approximately 1.19 billion annually to all our provinces and Bougainville and to all our districts. Our total DSIP and PSIP payments between 2019 and 2025 amounted to approximately 6.4 billion, with annual allocations peaking at 960 million in both 2022 and 2025. Additional districts and provincial infrastructure programs introduced in 2024 allocation are approximately 1.5 billion over 2 years. When combined with DSIP and PSIP, a total sub-national infrastructure investment reached approximately 9.4 billion between 2019 and 2025. Mr. Speaker, this substantial money transferred from Waigani to the sub-national governments, and I commend all members. I see many good work happening, and this is the result of transfer of money from Waigani straight to the districts. And for those who criticize the transfer of money to the districts, I want to say the district members knows their people much better than the Prime Minister. It is no offense to give to the districts. You hold your district or your province to account through the provincial assembly and government processes or through the DDA and the provincial district DDA processes. You hold your leader to account. Ask them, how much money did Waigani pass on? This is the headline that was mentioned, and I'm sure the leaders who are working will point to you the work they've received equivalent to the funds being transferred to all districts and provinces without discrimination across our country. Constitutional grants to sub-national governments over the same period total approximately 343.5 million, with approximately 81% of funds successfully utilized. District support grants of 360 million and special intervention programs of 613 million provided additional targeted support to all of our districts and provinces across our country. Should I add on here, and for a task for this Parliament, I want this Parliament to consider a possibility of an amendment coming, that we will entrench DSIP and PSIP as a constitutional grant that is not subjective to government of the day, but that is available always to members of Parliament on both sides of the House going forward. Decentralization reform, the provincial government and local level government affairs reviewed 30 resolutions adopted by the 2023 Governors Conference. Of these, 14 have been implemented administratively, while 16 require legislative amendments currently being progressed. The Bipartisan Parliamentary Committee on Decentralization and Autonomy has developed proposals for a new provincial government system that is submitted to Cabinet for consideration. To improve monitoring of provincial and district operations, 20 senior technical officers will be deployed to provincial administrations to provide technical support, monitor program implementation, and ensure alignment with national policies. A digital ward record system has been developed and is being rolled out, with ward recorders and councillors trained to collect community level data. Mr. Speaker, 6 newly established electorates are being prepared for participation in 2027 national general elections. In collaboration with the PNG Electoral Commission, we are updating the national voter roll and undertaking electoral boundary realignments. 4 restoration authorities have been established to address governance challenges in specific regions, and our new local governments and wards are being operationalized. Mr. Speaker, on land audit, land governance for sub-national government, a national land audit, I beg your pardon, is currently underway to map the precise distribution of state-owned and customary land across the country. The Department of Lands and Fiscal Planning is implementing the e-land digital registration system, and we thank Deputy Prime Minister for his strong leadership in this space, requiring all existing title holders to register their titles electronically. Provincial land administration capacity audits are being also conducted, and revenue from land administration has now reached over 75 million in the previous year, with a targeted 200 million as digital systems become fully operational. The Bougainville Land Authority has been successfully established as a pilot to decentralize land, and Bougainville, as I speak, land is being passed on to Bougainville for their own administration. Mr. Speaker, on governance, on legislative achievements, governance must be underpinned by modern fit-for-purpose legislation. This Parliament has passed more legislations. In my note here, it says 32 acts of Parliament, but my mind says it's more than 32 acts of Parliament. We passed more acts of Parliament in the last 6 years, demonstrating a whole-of-government legislative program of remarkable breadth and ambition. This legislative output, spanning taxation, petroleum, land, disability, community development, financial governance, and budget, reflects a deliberate whole-of-government approach to structural reform and positions Papua New Guinea for sustained economic growth and improved institutional performance. Mr. Speaker, on international relations and regional engagement, our foreign policy, Friends to All, Enemies to None has elevated Papua New Guinea's profile and influence on world stage. As the largest Pacific Island country outside of Australia and New Zealand, Papua New Guinea has a responsibility and opportunity to lead in regional forums and global conversations. We have deepened bilateral relationships with Australia through Pukuk Treaty on defense cooperation and others, with China through development financing and investment partnership, and a relook at the Taiwan policy, with the United States on security and diplomatic engagements, and with Japan, Indonesia, India, New Zealand, European Union, and France. We have engaged actively in APEC, in the Pacific Island forums, the United Nations, and the Commonwealth. We also, this statement doesn't include, but we've also established our presence in the Middle East through both our offices in Israel as well as UAE. Our ratification of BBNJ Treaty, participation in UNCLOS implementation, engagements with the UNTOC process, and signing of the UNEC Coalition Transparency Pledge demonstrate our commitment to rules-based international governance and sustainable ocean management. The Pacific Australia Labour Mobility Scheme has created economic pathways for Papua New Guinean workers in Australia and the Pacific region. More than 3,000 Papua New Guineans are working, as I already indicated. The opportunity for more to be working is there. Of the 3,000, it is indicated the last 3 years, a total remittance of over 240 million kina has flown back to Papua New Guinea as a result of these 3,000 people working in Australia. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, as we look ahead, we are not resting on the 7 years of achievement. I am the first to admit many work remain incomplete, many work remain undone, much work remains ahead of us. We all must work as we stand at the threshold of passing through our 50th anniversary year. We must look at how far we've come and where we must go. That is why we have an office that's labeled Reset at 50, and they've established Reset at 50 roadmap with clear, simple, logic agendas, what we must do this year and next year, what we must do in the next 5 years, and what we all collectively must do going forward. A bold agenda to reset our nation's economic and governance foundations for the next half a century. It has always been and is our ambition to go past the 200 billion kina economy threshold to making sure we have enough and to provide opportunity, dignity, and prosperity for all Papua New Guineans. As we maintain our priority and going forward, our priority remains completing Connect Papua New Guinea. No place must be left behind. Every place must have enabling infrastructures, whether it's road, seaports, airports, airstrips, or electricity, or satellite and telephone connectivity, ICT. We must deliver them going forward. We're finalizing on our projects that we have outstanding. Wafi Golpu, for instance, Frida River, Pinyang, Papua, and others that I alluded to earlier. We want to make sure that ICAC and all our anti-corruption measures is fully entrenched, supported by police and a functioning police to making sure it is delivering on our intention. We want to expand on our free education and higher education loan program so that every child is given an opportunity for education in his or her country. We want to make sure that health facilities are available so that no one dies of curable diseases, and every person in our country has access to hospital facilities and health care facilities. And I did make a statement that will stand forever going forward. It is our ambition that every Papua New Guinean must be 1 hour away from a health care facility. And so I call upon all of you in the districts and provinces and PHAs. You've been receiving increased money from PHAs. Just make sure this intention comes to life. Whether it's the lowest level health care facility in the villages or in the villages or in the district, we must now plug in the gap so that there are health facilities closest to our people in island communities, in the valleys, in the mountains, the urban centers right across all parts of our country. We must implement a national housing policy and make housing affordable to every Papua New Guineans. And I want to say through this statement, I've given instruction to the housing minister, work on an affordable housing program with the lands department, create land, and our people must not be evicted, moved around, give them every opportunity to have a land and embark on house program. Every citizen of our country must be given an opportunity for a good housing program. House secures the family, and when a family is secured, then the country is secured. We want to ensure that income tax and tax administration acts are properly modernized and it's not burdensome. I want to indicate to the country, this government is a government that is here to help our people. When our economy goes past a 200 billion kina mark, we're looking at dropping the corporate tax and personal income tax of our country. We're working towards growing to a 200 billion kina economy. This government is not afraid to announce when we go past 200 billion kina economy, we will be relooking at taxation regime to drop tax so investors, citizen businesses and individuals pay lesser tax and we all contribute to the growth of our country. In the Lands Department, we want to make sure they reach our annual program where they're raising more revenue. We're targeting at a baseline of around 200 million kina per year. Mr. Speaker, much more remains, but 7 years we've been in office. We have not been doing nothing. We've been working. But at the same time, I want to conclude. Much work remains undone, unfinished. As we stand to face our people in 2027, I want to ask all ministers in my cabinet, report to the country what your sector has done to the country from 2019 up till 2027, so the country can judge us fairly as we go to the elections to renew our mandate or get us out of office. To our people, our citizens, in the last 7 years, facing 8 political challenges, coming through COVID-19 in 2020, facing the imported inflation of Ukraine war, and now the Hormuz conflict, etc., from outside and from within. The crisis like January 10, 2024, all challenges have come, but by God's grace, we have persevered. We tried our absolute best in the last 7 years, and we've fallen short on expectations, then we apologize. But I make no apology to personal expectations. The many around in the system who supported me in 2019 were no longer my friends. They expected personal favors, and I'm not here for personal favors. You can mouth your mouth off, but I'm not here for personal favors. We are here to support districts, provinces, and national government programs. And I call upon districts and provinces and national governments through the ministers, report on funds you have received. It may not be many, but you have received funds right across. Report on the work that we have done, and our people can judge us fairly in a district or in a province, or as you as a cabinet minister. May God bless Papua New Guinea forever. May God bless all the children of my country. This is the report of the last 7 years. Much remain untold, but may the history record what we have done. Thank you.
The Honorable Governor of West New Britain.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Thank you for the opportunity. I sincerely thank Honorable Prime Minister for this wonderful report. Not that every one of us wanting to report everything we do. It's quite a detailed report for this 7th year's performance report by Prime Minister. Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I wish to also include, while commenting on the statement, to Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I seek leave of your chair to take note of the Prime Minister's statement, and I move. Yeah, I move that Prime Minister.
Make your speech.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Sorry, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Mi pleno savelo disla procedure sample time. Stop long time tasol. I'm all some kind legal languages. Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, I'm a mastrulo statement blow Prime Minister lo detailed performance report lo country lo national government natu lo one kind challenges still remain. Mr. Deputy Speaker, me like talk lo perspective lo province blow me like especially West New Britain. Being on agriculture province, and Prime Minister me talk also me play east na west me play depend lo agriculture me play depend lo this la green gold called oil palm, copra, cacao, na all that another agriculture produce me play no got oil na gas that's all. Me play still contributing same level will same all oil na gas are contributing to. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the most important factors for this economy to grow, we need the conducive infrastructures. Our main priority for our province remains as agriculture and tourism, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Of course, you know the challenges when we talk about tourism, how difficult the challenges, the cost, increasing cost of, flight tickets and the challenges. But in terms of agriculture, while this sector still remains a sustainable economic sector to contribute to the economy of Papua New Guinea, as Prime Minister mentioned, oil palm alone is contributing over 2 billion kina to the GDP of our nation. So it is imperative that you may building conducive infrastructure, supporting this economic infrastructure. Mr. Deputy Speaker, thank you, this program, also Connect PNG. Prime Minister mentioned close to 20 billion kina over investment. Now almost over 7,000 kilometers has been addressed. Side perspective, West New Britain, unfortunately it's a grievance debate. This statement come Friday. Side West New Britain, people amamas this investment come 138 million kina and come towards border West New Britain. You got narapla 10-20 kilometers the soli stop. Suppose you asking me this road me urgent or priority, me batok no urgent, but we still need it. But the biggest challenge, Mr. Deputy Speaker, and Works Minister is Save, Prime Minister tu Save, start lo Hoskins go lo Kimbe, start lo Kimbe go lo Biala, start lo Kimbe go lo Kendrian, na Thalasia Ring Road. These are all economic road. Every Toya invested in West New Britain, the rate of returns are justifiable and higher than investing in any other districts or provinces, Mr. Deputy Speaker. As these roads are the economic lifeline. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this situation below Hoskins Golo Kimbe, the first 20 kilometers, facing enormous challenges. People, me feeling guilty time me go airport, na me looking how PMVs suffer and the maintenance costs below PMB they incur because of this bad road infrastructure and all. Like I said, Mr. Deputy Speaker, while you talk big talk, thank you this investment through connect PNG, but you too must make him sure this fund maintenance must go through. As time me ask him this question tasol, me check him on time work secretary na. Let me talk. He got budget appropriation 150 million kina istap National Road Maintenance Fund inside 2026 budget. He got 40 million kina National Bridge Maintenance Program emistap. Talk this road blow you host schemes, New Britain Highway, all that something emistap inside this money. But now you mistap June, also in the mid of 2026. But I'm talking no receiving one toya treasury appropriation. So me appeal, Deputy Speaker, while you may invest Nupla Road, you too must release in this 150 million National Road Maintenance Program, now 40 million this National Bridge Maintenance Program. Some time me no understand, Mr. Deputy Speaker, these are recurrent expenses where me no need permission, approval, kind something. These recurrent expenses must be honored as you may appropriate through the budget. Otherwise, this all the time you may building Nipla road infrastructure, while you may continue losing this existing road infrastructure. These are existing road infrastructure, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I'm also an economic lifeline where I'm 24/7 servicing this oil pump, fruit trucks, tankers, logging trucks, and all that this something. Because for too long, you may lose thinking the importance below some provinces where continue supporting this nation's welfare, growth of our nations. Mr. Deputy Speaker, Western Britain, kind also West Peak, Mipla too known for this logging, me no proud of this also Mipla stop of this industry. I hope that this industry also me slowly can come out and me focus 100% downstream processing as well. Meeting him also with also some money, I'll call him also LEDL money. I'm close to also over 5 years. After 5 years, me plan receiving one money LEDL. This log export development levy, Mr. Deputy Speaker, me talk thank you government. Before also we give him all the kind individuals come na apply na kiss him. But government me changing golo also rule talk also by golo district na provinces tasho. But Mr. Deputy Speaker, the farmer government too, time below this SP Games, South Pacific Games or 1M Games, close to over 150 million kina, I'll rouse him this LEDL money and I'll spend him. To date, this money was never reimbursed. Me thinking tasol, I'm close to almost 4 or 5 years ago, me pla kisimon pla 1 million kina support. Me pla like a team low, me pla one pla also private line too, kisim government go court, na tag also 1 million, blow provincial government, but he blow one individual na this la. So court deal one time this la matter finish. Now you me establishing, Mr. Deputy Speaker, we came with a genuine intention. Me arim talk also government establishing this like something I'll call him PNG DY Holdings Limited underneath Forest Minister or Forest Department. Now I'll be allocating 300 million. Now you me buy DY law. Algata this la established logging companies. Now you me downstream processing or you me export. Now you me generating income. This la to date come also operational. Stop it also. So you me need allocating money this la kind initiative where you me talk na you me promising nation finish. Mr. Speaker, me like talk thank you Prime Minister na Treasurer this la 1 billion kina intervention fuel subsidy. We are so fortunate. Lucky na this la intervention come. Suppose come. You may by facing kind criticism na challenge na people all gata by suffer, especially businesses, ordinary people, depending on PMVs and all this la something. This la kind subsidy too must go agriculture commodities because. Mr. Deputy Speaker, logistics is one of the biggest expense inside the country. You can kiss him good price, that's all. Selling produce go low, Narapla province or selling produce go low overseas. Triple expenses. For example, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm little conflict of interest also. Me work buying copra. Me buying 3 kina 20 toya, 1 kilo. Minimum also 3,200 kina. Price pla copra now pulled down. Now suddenly price dropped to 2 kina 50. Now price me kisi offer one company Bangladesh kisi also 1,000 US dollars. 1,000 US dollars is like good money. That's all. Suppose you like exporting $300 by golo logistic that's all. Then you buy kisim $700 that's all. $700 and minimum some close to 3,000 kina that's all. So you buy losing big money low logistics. Islam one big challenge where you know addressing also helping people low how you can subsidize in this freight. Islam name you arim tasol through practical application looking also one practical support and come low supporting this logistics cost na this Mr. Deputy Speaker, me looking lo statement too, you me talk lo 1.8 billion kina you me spend lo side lo law and order. But the reality on the ground, Mr. Deputy Speaker, you at you survey lo district below you. Now, Mr. Deputy Speaker, 1.8 billion kina you me spend lo law and order. But police lo all gata province na district, I'll still depend lo province lo buying fuel. As we speak, me got request lo close to 48,000 kina. I'll ask him fuel. Lo Kimbe police station. I'll ask him fuel, vehicles to me buy him, housing me build him, allowances to me give him. Me no looking also this money you me allocate lo here me trickle down. Now this fuel amount big challenge. Every now and then me need lo buying 5,000 liters of fuel. Mr. Deputy Speaker, you mean need lo make him sure this operational Assistant Speaker, operational expenses flow, important institutions also and police. You mean no can larimol depend lo all politician lo go na ask him all lo money. Time you ask him politician lo money, then this politician by take him advantage. Yeah? Then you by need lo be animal this politician go na amamasim all na. This am also making police and by weak neutrality lo police by suppose all depend lo local members na this lo depend lo all gata allowances na operational expenses long all. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this one we have to make them independent, make him sure also. All got the operational expenses plong all by go. In Kimbe, me plus spending big money lo police. Every year over million kina just for operational expenses hello. Of course every other provinces and districts are spending. Me plus tu Talasia district spending 5 million kina lo building police barracks. Lo Kimbe me plus spending narapla 7 million kina lo building police barracks. Me plus upgrading Kimbe police station. Na building new police station lo Hoskins na Salilibun all this something. This something that's all, Mr. Assistant Speaker. You mean need lo clarity lo. One am through resources me allocate lo each province. You mean talk lo decentralization. Yeah? This money because you might as well sell him all get the money go lo province that's all no you monitor him. This expenses lo police. Yeah? Because lo here you mean think also me allocate money finish na police by perform. But it's far from the truth. Mr. Assistant Speaker, sorry through because plenty matters me stop lo this by me not think even 1 hour by enough lo me completing this when I made debate but me like talk lo this decentralization me talk thank you lo Prime Minister na Minister Soroi lo finally also out of 30 resolutions from Governors Conference 14 administrative resolutions being carried out inside lo statement all talk he got narapla 16 outstanding but all got the 16 me legislative related and by needing government's amendment law, various laws. But Mr. Assistant Speaker, suppose you mean like through bring him development law, Papua New Guinea. This you mean can make him decentralization also one also talk to so. We've been always, aspirational, but it's not operational. Mr. Assistant Speaker, you mean call him Australia, also mama country blow you mean kiss him independence. What am something so hard, you mean copy paste the solo Australia. How you mean can perform also Queensland? Economy belong all some kind 500 billion or 1 trillion, clear exact number, but Queensland also one kind big economy inside Australia, kind also New South Wales. Lo here too. Suppose even 2 3 provinces grow, the entire country will grow. Some provinces all like run, some like walk, some like crawl. Lari musat like run, you lari mal run. Usat like walk about, lari mal walk about. At least some run, grow in economy, 2 Then by benefiting this country. Thank you to lo. One talk some digitized national ward recording program. Lo introduce him na. Same time you must introduce him to also give him pay to lo the ward members so all by help him lo you lo update him this ward record. Deputy Speaker, so Assistant Speaker, real decentralization means timely release of grants. Real decentralization means You must empower provinces to make decisions. Real decentralization means you must trust more local leaders law solving local problem. Real decentralization and minimal shame. You must give him greater control over to provinces for all their development priorities. Assistant Speaker, suppose you may release him 1+ statement. Province depend on functional grants. These are constitutional grants. You must release him to how much exactly you may pay him all the provinces 2024. How much you may release him 2025. You will be shocked. Mr. Assistant Speaker, this money, that covers except health, priority areas also, education, agriculture, fisheries, law and order, village court. All these functions are covered under these functional grants. For example, West New Britain functional grants for 2024, it's about 42.5 million kina. But we hardly received 40% of it. Time you may not receiving. This part of it is also meant for teachers' leave pay. Suppose you may not receive him, now you may not pay him. This casual teachers' wages, teachers' leave pay. And by accumulating. Me arim all stops public servants close to me provincial government. Also over 30 million kina something all teachers. Suppose me play no kiss him this full functional grant. This is where Assistant Speaker me woklo feel him no good lick also. You plug at money all the time big project, yeah. But why now you mean giving this recurrent operational expenses which you mean must front load him. Suppose it's called functional grant because without that you can't function. But you mean must prioritize him this kind of operational expenses or recurrent expenses over the other major program. Of course, challenge me big side funding also. Some time think also money is the problem, but how you may apply this money or how you may prioritize him expenses, yeah, that is the problem. Because me look in some other programs, they are getting the money. But some also basic, this is something you may not kissing. Mr. Assistant Speaker, because people are not going to judge us based on our GDP statistics. All by look, ground reality. One of kind challenges all by facing employment opportunities or price below goods, price below all the fuel or something. They will measure our success, how road below you mean maintain. For example, this road, Hoskins Kinbeya, suppose we would have released this 9 million kina meant for this road. This road could have been maintained. This road, this National Road Maintenance Fund released. I think maintenance below plenty roads too by helping. Now, how, whether police may respond, for emergency situations, time all ring. Plenty time all ring, police by talk no got car, or police by talk no got fuel. So you may need straight him all get this something before they attend. Our people will judge us, our success, whether our hospitals have medicines. Mr. Assistant Speaker, our people will success, whether this resource wealth is actually reaching our people, whether our young people are having job. Mr. Speaker, let us focus for these next 50 years. You may go less announcement, you may focus more result. You may talk less promise, now more implementation. You may talk release all the maintenance funds. You may must focus outstanding, releasing all the outstanding LEDL funds or functional grants, all the this money where you may appropriate. Mr. Speaker, Assistant Speaker, you may must support him, this downstream processing, releasing money go this PNG DY holdings, so all can focus this so that you may can process him or downstream processing all the DY you may harvest country below you may. Mr. Assistant Speaker, let us also focus and deliver meaningful decentralization. Only then, Mr. Assistant Speaker, our people will truly feel the benefits of our development. All the big numbers we often discuss in this honorable house, reaching them. Of course, our people, as Prime Minister said, have to also take responsibility. There is a complete lack of responsibility from our people, especially in terms of investing in education and health, their well-being for their children, because they are the future leaders and they are future of this country. There is a moral decay in our system and society, Mr. Assistant Speaker, that people are not caring for themselves or the increased attitude issue. Mr. Assistant Speaker, you can building plenty infrastructure. Time people, building moral attitude belong all. This infrastructure, recently me harim I'll go cooking on pla church lo, on pla place. Me less lo kalim name lo place. I'll go destroying on pla classroom too. And one kind of attitude. This kind of attitude deserves like also death sentence. You man long tasol you by cooking building block church or building block classroom where look at him future picking blow you me. Thank you, Mr. Assistant Speaker. These are little grievances below me, concerns below me, on behalf of people below me, West New Britain. Thank you. Now, God bless Papua New Guinea.
Governor.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Speaker. Number one, talk me like making me molsem. Thank you, Prime Minister. Osam biyan long 7 years you carry one report, performance report ikam long Parliament. Any good initiative you make him. Tasol, you got some liglik heavy long way you make him report. Na me like halibim you liglik na give him this debate, Mr. Speaker. Number one, I'm also long number one page long statement long Prime Minister. I mean talk also the guidance for the construction of this report and the performance of the government is based on two important documents. The Vision 2050 and the MTDP4, Mr. Speaker. My sadness is that this report should have been constructed based on the framework that's in the MTDP4, because that would be a better measure of the performance of the government. All target lo government, yeah, I mean stop inside lo MTDP4. Now inside lo this report, me no looking one blood target you play stating where you been stop finish long previous document where you play been writing na launch him, which would have been a better way for us to gauge the performance of the government in terms of the very significant promises it has made, and also in recognizing the very record-breaking budgets that it has been announcing, Mr. Assistant Speaker. So my understanding is that there are some really credible people working for the government, including people like Professor Kavanamur, who teaches students at the university, or at one point taught students at the university on how to write reports like this, and it would have been nice if he had been consulted. But having said that, Mr. Speaker, it's a good start, but it could have been done a lot better, because if you go through this report, I mean, no got structure long, you mean kalap all get happy go ikamna, you know got all targets, na you know got report actual performance against him this all target. I like to think that we are a professional country, and if so, we should be following international benchmarks in terms of how we do these reports, Mr. Assistant Speaker. So I'm number one talk me like make him challenge him government also. Next time you play like make him. Me sabe also you play got plenty money within me all province too. Try na kisim all money got sabe na by writing good display report na you me all get can understand him na appreciate him. I'm number one talk me like make him. Number two talk, Mr. Speaker, I'm also, and you know it illustrates the point I'm making. If you look at page 3, there is a broad statement, and I've tried to take a look at this report to figure out if there is any correlation. Only talk also, Mibla expanding electricity access igolong rural and peri-urban communities. One time all kind one may come up. Now there's an example given of what's happened in Port Moresby, and there's a big power line program from Hela all the way down to Morobe. But you know got one plus statement lo here he saw him clearly also. Particularly lo line lo mibla also long ECP na planti ol Narbla province where mibla no connected lo this la main grid na we have been struggling with issues like power, and I want to commend the Honorable William Duma after many long conversations between him and myself that the State Enterprises Ministry has now agreed to hand over our power supply to Octedi Power. So me like to thank you lo Mr. Duma lo desla. But it would have been nice to see some of these initiatives mentioned somewhere in the report, and not just us in ECPIC, but you know other provinces, Mr. Speaker. You go along page 4, and this is quite sad, Mr. Speaker, and again I make reference to the MTDP4, where you got target where government is setting also only by building 2,000 homes. Na long report long Prime Minister yet istablo here, tokol only building 36 plows, that's all inside long 7 years. That's quite sad, Mr. Assistant Speaker. Again, you know, if we had done these reports properly and if we had done them on an annual basis, at least government by not lo tracking performance long yet, whether I work in Bloody House or not. Suffice to say that I think in Isipik we've built more houses than the government has in the same period of time, particularly for police and other people. Law same page, infrastructure expenditure, Mr. Speaker, and this is where I concur somewhat with the previous debate by my colleague governor, the Honorable Sasindran Mutubel. Suppose you look lo infrastructure, lo speech lo Prime Minister mi tokol sen. Government ni allocate him 17.5 billion. Na actual expenditure em 11.93 billion. So question lo mi em also 5.57 billion go away. Because me no look him inside lo one final budget outcome. Me no look him inside lo one actual budget where this la 5.57 billion. You play transferring me go along consolidated revenue, na you may reallocate him lo budget. So it would be nice if someone told the whole country what happened to this missing 5.57 billion. And for those in government who care to look, that's on page 4, I think paragraph 3. So, and then in that same paragraph, we read that there's 5 billion outstanding. Mr. Assistant Speaker, and I assume that's also in the area of Connect PNG and others. And as I mentioned in the budget debate last year about the significant arrears sitting in Treasury, and it's nice that the Prime Minister has mentioned them here, confirming the points that I have raised last year, Mr. Speaker. And further to that, Mr. Assistant Speaker, my other question about all of these very large liabilities that lie outside of the books that pertain to the contracts that have been issued under the Connect PNG program, Mr. Speaker. Now, this question is still outstanding. Na mino hari one bla man long government, one bla good bla minister ikam na talk sawe long people long Papua New Guinea.
We have a point of order.
It might be right or it might be wrong, but I'm raising point of order.
I have not asked you to raise your point of order as yet. You wait until I ask you to raise your point of order, then you raise your point of order. Honourable Member for North East, what's your point of order?
Thank you, Assistant Speaker. My point of order is that I respect the Governor for his civic. We are not in the budget session where we go by figures on the cost and the projected cost that will be happening in the long term. This one is a performance report, only to guide, telling the nation how the 7 years as Marape and Rosso government is doing. And I don't know, as this way, it's right to go by figure to figure, saying that one of the statements, he said, government got more money. In what budget allocation appropriate this more money? No, I'm only raising that one because he's trying to go book page by page, medium-term development. You know, we are not in the budget session where we debate on figures.
Honourable Member for North East, your point of order is out of order. As this is a grievance debate, and let the Honourable Governor resume his debate and complete it.
Mr. Assistant Speaker, I think all Sambla leader Bloimi need look long report where all yet producing long government law longer than Nambaya is step inside lab na mi call him. You know me make up Naigo. To my next point, and I thank you for your ruling, Assistant Speaker, along page number 6. and this is something that the Honorable Mutuvel just discussed not so long ago, you will see quite clearly here. Lol number of government yet, a total of 111.59 billion. Again, that's in paragraph 3 under fiscal management and revenue for those that are following. But you look at Molsem, long Olgata allocation long government, Mr. Assistant Speaker, 20% that's only go along province. The other 80% in revenues were used by the national government, Mr. Speaker. So me talk thank you long Prime Minister lo karim this lo nambay kam lo make him clear. Also how much money through I go down long all people blow me long all province. Na emi confirm him talk long Honorable Mutuvel where emi talk long side lo function grants na one where nice plan number government is have put him inside lo budget. That's all cash money no sabianim na go down. ECP yet he still got over 2 years funding cuts of almost 104 million kina, Mr. Speaker. So, complain lo people blow isipik, but me still karim kam lo this blouse. Ina samla laini harim na. Igat samla good la beki mi kam long hamamas lo people blow isipik, Mr. Speaker. Now one kind to lo hamamas blow people lo narbla. All provinces blow you me inside lo this country. The other issue I have, Mr. Speaker, which I'd like to mention here, is that nowhere in this report is Bougainville given preeminence. This la week tasol yumi igat big lo tok lo side lo Bougainville na inside lo report lo yumi lo here, which should have been a significant part of the Marape Rosso government. Responsible all inside along here should have had something comprehensive on Bougainville. But anyway, me tromay mantap tasol na pointing out sampla area where government ni abrus liglig. Me ikam ken long, page number 17. Now, Mr. Speaker, I speak on behalf of all our local level governments, not just the 28 in Isipik, but the others in all of the other provinces in our country. And I state quite categorically, and again, Mr. Assistant Speaker, Prime Minister should perhaps review the contract arrangements for his speechwriter. If I were the Prime Minister, I would sack the guy. No time in the last 9 years has a local level government service improvement program funding come down to any of our LLGs. Yet it's mentioned in here that our LLGs have received LLG SIP. So me just throw them this talk on top again. You know, accuracy is important and there are many numbers mentioned in here. I will not cover them all. But just to point out some of the glaring things that I see. Now, Mr. Speaker, again, I refer to the Medium-Term Development Plan 4. And it makes a very ambitious target in terms of jobs. And one of the things I wanted to ask was that the MTDP4 was fully costed, Mr. Speaker. And in the MTDP4, our good people at planning have indicated that we need about 51 billion kina to implement all of the outcomes there, including those that were mentioned by my colleague Governor, the Honorable Mutuvel, in terms of the 300 million that was intended for forestry to realize some of the government's well-stated policies in terms of downstream processing. Me understand also 300 million to inogo. So I must lose lo habrot na by good plus suppose Minister of Forest he can talk sawe something I lose lo way or sampla Minister of look out in money lo treasury too he can talk out also something he go na you may all get people blow Papua New Guinea can sawe. But coming back to the point, Mr. Assistant Speaker, long page 21 long conclusion long Prime Minister. Emi talk also you got more than 2.5 million students only stop inside law school na you walk lo finish na you walk long graduate na 2.5 million, Mr. Speaker, 2.565713 to be exact. Government promised him this blow beginning blow you me 1 million jobs by 2027. I'd like to remind the government that we are nearing the middle of and arriving at the end of 2026. It would have been nice to see in this report some feedback on how many of these 1 million jobs miplay promising ol pignini blo yumi oli sinan lo school na oli pinis suppose I come up or nogat or suppose I stop lo samlahap. Perhaps we can advise our young people on when these jobs might be arriving and from where. But having said that, Mr. Assistant Speaker, me come back to the point where Honorable Mutuveli making. When we make grand plans and we announce grand budgets, these are what we call high-level commitments. People blow you me, only stop long, what we call outcome level, outcome and impact, Mr. Speaker. And I believe that was in the same master's program that the Prime Minister did at UPNG, and I had the privilege of also doing, Mr. Speaker. So, tok blom mi emolsem, lo strong im tok blom Governor Mutubel. Our people live at the outcome level, Mr. Speaker. Now, outcome emolsem. Suppose you spending money long healthcare, na you announcing big number inside lo floor lo parliament also, you spending kind money long healthcare. Then the services need to be there to the expectation that our people have. That's what we call outcome and impact of the budget, Mr. Speaker. One kind to law and order. Time you make him announcement, how much money you may put him, or you may talk long DY, long downstream processing, 300 million if I go. Then we need to see it at the outcome and impact level. How much pla DY you may put him through, na sawmill cut him, na come up timber, na you may export him low way. Factory is an up low way. How much pla walk man Mary walk inside. This la all outcome na impact ya. Emi no stop, Mr. Speaker. So emi come back lo point where Governor Mutubeli racing, me too I been sa racing plenty time. Na me believe also by lo interest lo people lo Bougainville too, Mr. Speaker. One time through by you me look long. Senisim this lo arrangements you me got. Governor Mutubeli no talk out na talk straight, so Bami talk out na talk straight. Our system of subnational governments and national government is designed, Mr. Speaker, behind him straight design belong Australian government, na country belong Australia. Inside lo desala design, you me Papua New Guinea, you me kisim design tasol na funding mechanism belong em, you me no kisim, Mr. Speaker. That's why you look him lo report lo Prime Minister yet. Emi saw him also 20% belong budget belong Papua New Guinea. Emi go down long all province, 20% tasol. 80% emi sit down long Waigani. Long all program lo Waigani. Lo management lo Waigani, Mr. Speaker. Suppose you go to Australia, but you look him also in Brisbane City. Emi got $4 billion budget. Brisbane City is run by the Brisbane City Council. Brisbane City Council is the equivalent of one of our local level governments. Same design. Australian government, he give him lo yumi. Yumi kisim design tasol, na ting lo how lo ronim. Yumi no kisim. Yumi ronim lo like lo yumi yet. So I would like to urge the government, and whilst I note some of the achievements in terms of subnational government, me ask him, you bring him all save money, come sit down, na give him you some good pla ting ting. People like myself will not be in this house forever. Ting ting na talk mi pla kare mi kam lo help him you lo try him na change him all arrangements so that the impact and the outcome is felt at where the people are. You try him na harim na behind him. Suppose you stop 7 years record budget. Now you may get record problem. Then perhaps it's not the money. Perhaps it's the structure that you are using to try to bring things down. No can stop na criticize him online way kisim liglig money na put him all structure law, try him na find out law how you may manage him 1 billion kina a year na the other 29 billion kina of the budget. We don't scrutinize that, Mr. Speaker. So I would like to encourage the government. This is a good start, but let's do it properly the next time. The time you make karim come. You pla measure him performance blow you pla against him promise blow you pla and me stop inside long empty DP4. Thank you, Mr. Assistant Speaker.
Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the Parliament take note of the paper and the debate be adjourned and made in order of a subsequent seating.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, before I move, I want to appreciate all my honorable leaders for the important debates that we've had in light of the 7-year presentation by our Prime Minister, and also with the discussion over Bougainville next week. Tuesday will be a very important day for all of us as the Minister for Bougainville Affairs brings in the sessional order. And I encourage all leaders, please, as Leader of Government Business and also representing my people of Bougainville, I encourage all of you this weekend, please indulge yourself with the Bougainville agenda so that we can ensure that our discussion on Tuesday has deep substance and is based on facts and is quarantined to the process that has demanded us and quarantined us through the Parliament process. Assistant Speaker, I move that Parliament do now adjourn until Tuesday, 9th June 2026 at 10 o'clock a.m.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Honourable members, I adjourn Parliament until Tuesday, 9th June 2026 at 10 o'clock a.m.